Firefighters have a tradition of volunteerism that goes back 2,000 years, and nearly 2/3 of firefighters are volunteers. We're going to talk about that and more fun firefighter facts while we sketch this little firefighter. And figure out how many times we can say firefighter in one breath. So let's just turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on is it Wednesday morning? Wow, it is Wednesday morning. That is shocking to me. The week is just flying by. That it is already Wednesday morning. On Wednesday mornings, I like to do a little thing where I pull a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, a toy from the toy box, and I draw it, and we talk about it. We actually do this every day at 5:30 a.m. Texas time, so you may want to set your notification bell so you don't miss that. But today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a firefighter. This is a safari model. Forget the actual name of the set. You'd think I would have written that down or something, but it's policemen, firefighters, doctors, professionals, helpful people. I'm not sure what the name of the set was, but this is one of the really good models. I mean, the detail on this is just extraordinary. And no, Safari's not paying me yet. Safari is not paying me to say that. I get no money from Safari. I'm just really impressed by their models. Them and Toy Money make some of the best models out there. I'm sure there's others. I have some mushrooms and some snails that are really good models that are not from those two companies, but the vast majority of my models are either Toy Money or Safari. That hat is horrible. We're gonna have to work on that hat. Firefighters started the first documented firefighter that we're going to talk about in modern culture, well, not modern culture but Western culture, is the Romans had a protection scheme. Marcus Licinius Crassus in 60 BC had about 500 slaves, and they would roam the streets at night. They would put out fires, but only if the person who owned the building would agree to sell the property and occasionally the property next door to him.
No, so if you didn't agree to that, you lost your home.
That's exactly right. They stood there and watched it burn down. If you didn't agree to the terms, they would sit there and watch your house burn down. It is. It is. If you didn't agree to sell your property at a steep discount, pennies on the dollar, if you didn't agree to sell your property to Marcus Licinius Crassus was his name, if you didn't agree to sell your property to him, they would watch your house burn down. Now, there's no mention of whether or not they actually set any fires for people who refuse to pay for the service. There's no mention of being required to pay an insurance, as would become popular in the later years of those kind of protection schemes, when if you don't want your store vandalized and destroyed, you need to pay protection, so that because we'll make sure nothing bad happens to your store, and by nothing bad we mean us. We'll make sure that we don't tear your store up And nobody else will mess with your store either, as long as you pay protection to us. There's not really any mention about Marcus Licinius Crassus doing that.
So my store's on fire.
Yeah.
And I can see it's engulfed in flames. You can't save it. So this fireman comes up and says, listen, look at the fire. You can give this to old Marcus.
Yes.
Well, why would you do that? Because you're going to lose it anyway.
Because the goods inside are still yours.
But they're burned up.
Maybe.
No, I said it's fully engulfed. There's no hope in saving it.
Well, if there's no hope in saving it or whatever, then you have no incentive to pay Marcus anyway.
Absolutely right. You still have your property. You can rebuild. Maybe.
Yeah. At that point, you'd have no incentive to pay Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus's protection scheme. It was fairly short-lived. That was 60 BC. Marcus Ignatius Rufus in 22 BC started another fire brigade. He had 600 slaves, and he didn't charge you. They would walk the streets for free, carrying ladders and hooks and buckets. They would walk the streets for free, and they would put out fires and not charge you. And he became super popular among the citizenry for his assistance and his public service. Super popular. So super popular that Augustus Caesar noticed his popularity and had him executed for it.
Oh, nice guy.
Yeah. Augustus Caesar was concerned that his popularity would get people to want him to replace Caesar as emperor. And so they trumped up some charges and had him executed. I had this whole page I could have done this on, and I actually made it about life size, just focused on this little area right here. I could have made this whole page, but if I'd have made this whole page, I wouldn't have room for the shadow behind it. So I am kind of, there is a reason it's not as big as it could have been, but it could have been just a touch bigger, I think. Oh well. Oil well. What a deep subject.
Yes, it is.
I've got a lot of stray pencil marks that I need to address. This is when I would go to ink and color. But we're not doing that this season. This season we're sticking with pencil. And I gotta tell you, it's hard. Subtle hint. Hey Claudia, subtle hint. I gotta tell you, it's difficult for me because for so long I've done, for over a year now, we've done watercolors, ink and wash. And I think in terms of color. I think in terms of how I'm going to colorize this. And so I draw with the intent of leaving room for this color or that color to fill in that void or to define that shape. But when you're not going to use color, you don't have that option. You have to fix those problems from the get-go. Also, you don't get the nice clean ink lines. So you have to occasionally go back in with your eraser clean up the fuzzy lines so that you don't lose track of what you're drawing. And vermilion on the date. Yes, we'll use vermilion on the date because we have to have vermilion. Just because we've changed mediums does not mean that we're going to deprive Pamela of the vermilion. We love Pamela, and we have to make sure that we include vermilion for her. I'm going to see them on the 27th through the 30th, I think. I'm going to Oklahoma, and I'm going to see Pamela and Rick, and maybe Joe if he can manage to get us into his calendar. And my grandbabies. I'm excited about that. I haven't seen them in a while. They don't know who I am, but I'm watching them like for real Santa Claus. My daughter's significant other is a firefighter, my oldest daughter. He is a firefighter, and my dad was a volunteer firefighter. And it is hard work, guys. It is hard work. It's not just parades and accolades. It's not just pet the dog. I didn't even think my dad's fire brigade had a dog. In about 60 AD, the next Augustus started the vigiles, the watchers. He had about 7,000 men. He put a 4% tax on slaves in the whole empire, but a 4% tax on slaves, and he used that money to fund a 7,000 man operation to have a fire brigade, and they wandered the streets with buckets and ladders and hooks to put out fires around town at no cost to the person whose fire they put out, except that that person would be expected to pay the slave tax if they owned slaves. So basically, if you think about that, that's the kind of tax where they're taxing the affluent, because not everybody owns slaves. They're taxing the affluent, and the benefit was the general population. But it's not actually just taxing the affluent's wealth. It's taxing the things that the affluents buy. Like if you were to start a yacht tax, for instance, and have that yacht tax pay for NASA or something more important to the general public, like healthcare. But you don't just charge the wealthy, the affluent, because they're wealthy. You charge them for buying luxury items like slaves. That was the thinking that Augustus put in place. That was the program that Augustus put in place by having a 4% tax on sales tax on slaves that paid specifically for the fire brigade. The difficulty, see, without coming back in with the yellow ochre, the difficulty for me is making this shadow still look yellow. How do I make the boot brown and shaded and not look like the whole thing is just the same color? Sometimes you can do that by making your shading marks in a different direction. That's the kind of stuff I forget because I haven't done pencil. I haven't done graphite work in so very long. Claudia had a nice visit with her son.
She will this afternoon. Her oldest son got home yesterday from his 3-week trip to Italy.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Both of our boys are home now.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to my trip to see my babies. My oldest daughter and my son and his beautiful young bride. And then them babies, that little moon pie and bread, and that little mac and cheese and unique with Chantilly La Fontaine.
That one's growing up.
Oh my goodness, my daughter posted pictures of Uniqua. She's 12. Is she 12 going to be 13, or is she 13 going to be 14?
12 going to be 13.
She's 12 going to be 13, and we need to... I understand why some countries have their young ladies wear burqas. That young lady is just gorgeous, and her mother is in so much trouble, especially if that little girl has anything of the boy craziness that her mother had. That's especially funny to me. See, this is the part in Payne's Gray, you make these shadows, and these shadows just define the whole thing. In pencil, it's a build-up process. It still defines the shape. It's still, but it's not as what's what I'm looking for. It's gratuitous. Gratuitous is not right. It's instant gratification with Payne's Gray. And that may be my whole issue, is I'm television generation, and I want instant gratification. That may be my whole problem in a nutshell, is that I grew up watching television, and I want instant gratification. I want my commercials over in 30 minutes. I want my life issues resolved in 30 minutes. I want my commercials over in 30 seconds. I want my life issues resolved in 30 minutes. And a laugh track. Imagine how much better it would be if we had a laugh track, so we knew when people were being funny or stupid.
Aurora says, growing a fireman today, I see.
Yes, Aurora. And we've switched mediums for this. I don't know if we've switched mediums for this entire book. My mom and I were discussing this before we turned the cameras on. I don't know if I'm going to do this for the entire book, or if it's just for the next 30 days, or what. I haven't quite decided yet, but for the next few days anyway, I'm going to focus on graphite. Just because I felt like my skills were waning. And I needed to reinforce. My skills because I haven't focused on it so long that I tried to draw something without watercolor the other day, and I didn't recognize it until I watercolored it. And so I decided that I would spend some time with graphite. How are we doing on time? Oh, it's already 5:53. Dalmatians and firefighters seem to go together well. There's a story behind that. The Dalmatians are not firefighting dogs. Dalmatians get along well with horses. They tend to bond well with horses. They're fairly big dogs, and so the Dalmatians see the horses as big dogs, and the horses see the Dalmatians as tiny horses, and they get along well. And because of that, the fire brigades, the wagon-drawn fire brigades, would adopt Dalmatians to run alongside and ahead of the fire brigade to warn people. They would bark and clear the streets for the fire brigade. They were kind of a siren for the fire brigade. And then they would guard the horses and the equipment while the firefighters were fighting fires. When the fire departments moved to motorized vehicles and no longer had horses, the dogs were already a mascot, so nobody's going to do away with the dogs. This is the opposite of what I would do with watercolor. With watercolor, I'd paint the surrounding environment to offset the yellow color. So that the yellow would stand out from the background. I would paint the surrounding. I would paint the background. I'd give it a teal or a purple or something. But we're not doing watercolor. So Benjamin Franklin's fire brigade was the beginning of volunteerism in the United States, the official beginning of volunteerism, because he and a group of friends funded the Bucket Brigade, the Union Fire Brigade in Pennsylvania. And their Bucket Brigade, once they got to 30 men, they started turning men away, and they told those men that wanted to join that their brigade was full and they needed to go start their own brigade, and so they did. And in doing so, every time they did that, they sliced up the city. They gave another slice of support to the city. Had coverage in another area, until the entire city had fire brigades. And it started a tradition among firemen of volunteerism all across the country. The idea swept the entire country of how men would give up their day job for a moment to go help their neighbor put out fires. Which is very brave work. It's very, very hot, very heavy, very, very brave. My dad was a volunteer firefighter. I mentioned that earlier. My dad was a volunteer firefighter, and there were a couple of times there that he would be on the front of a truck running a hose, and part of the hose sprays back at you to keep the fire from burning you up, and they would be driving through a field on fire while my dad is spraying water, standing on the front of the truck, spraying water at the field, while the water's also spraying back at him to keep him wet, so he doesn't catch fire himself. And so you have to think about that. You have to be able to maintain the discipline of your safety gear while still focusing on the mission of putting out the fire. It's hard work.
It takes a brave person to drive into the fire.
It takes a very brave person to drive into a fire. It takes a brave person to run towards danger. The vast majority of people are running away from danger. Firefighters, police officers. I know there's not. I know the world right now is mad about some bad actors in our police and firefighters and doctors and lawyers and stuff like that, but the vast majority of people who get into those fields really get into those fields because they want to help. And it's a shame that some of the bad actors have given everybody and given all the others such a bad reputation. I mean, what kind of crazy person says, I'm going to put on 45 to 75 pounds worth of gear and make it difficult for me to move at all, and I'm going to go run into this fire to save your life and your property? Crazy. Sometimes those fires in the what is today? Today's the 12th. Sometimes those grass fires, you have to set a new fire. You control the edge and make sure the fire can't spread beyond where you want it to go. And then you set a new fire in front of you and let that fire burn up to that edge. And then you move over into the newly burnt spot so that the approaching fire doesn't eat you up.
There's so much difference between fighting a fire in a populated area in a town or a city and in rural areas where it's just open field.
Yep. And the funny thing about that field method, though, there's record of the Aboriginals in Australia doing the same thing. When the grass fires were spread across Australia, the Aboriginals would go set a fire ahead of them and then cross over onto the newly burnt spot to let the fire pass them and without killing them. There are roughly 29,500 fire departments in the U.S. with over 1 million firefighters working in there. 677,000, roughly 677,000 volunteers doing that. So that is my version of the firefighter compared to the photograph. Let's see it. Brave Aurora says brave and or sometimes stupid to go towards danger. But you know, bravery and stupidity kind of go hand in hand sometimes. There's been a lot of times when there's been a lot of times I know when I've done something I thought was very brave after the fact, I was like, well, that was just really dumb. I'm sure I'm not the only one to have experienced that. Let's see. There it is. There it is from my perspective. So that's what I did today. Tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow? I really want to go over that with ink and watercolor. What do we have tomorrow? What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? What?
I said it's very nice.
Thank you. Tomorrow, dun dun dun. Oh, it's been a while since we've done this. Tomorrow, be a rattlesnake. Hiss, hiss! You're never around when I need you. I need fire. We'll do a rattlesnake tomorrow. We'll talk about how my foster brother and I used to go catch these and sell them. We'll talk about how my friend Bill Flowers came over to from Australia to the United States, and I took him out to the Wichita Mountains, and we caught one. We caught the tiniest little rattlesnake you've ever seen in your life, and he took it, and he was like, "Oh, okay, so this is a rattlesnake." And then he goes and he meets another guy in Colorado, and the guy in Colorado is like, "No, that's not a snake. That's a snake," and pulls out a rattlesnake. You know, just put mine completely to shame. We'll talk about how all snakes will twitch their tail to ward off danger. We'll talk about that kind of stuff and more fun rattlesnake facts tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time while we sketch this little danger noodle. So you are going to want to set your notification bell so you don't miss that. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. I do look forward to this every day when I get to art with my besties. It is my favorite time of the day. I look forward to it so much that I run down the stairs, and I've been sitting in this chair this morning since 4:45, waiting for a 5:30 show to start. Be sure and tune in tomorrow. Claudia, Aurora, thank you guys so much for joining me. Did anybody else? I don't remember seeing anybody else. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Mom, Dad, thank you for your help as well. Be sure and tune in tomorrow. Same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because when they see me dancing, I will know that the lag has caught up with the stream, and I won't get cut off mid-sentence. Gives everybody a chance to say hello and goodbye to each other. Gives you a chance to click clicky thingy so that you can watch another fantastic video just like this one. But the most important thing is that I don't get cut off mid-sentence, because being cut off